管是从整个 aging population， 或者是从 climate change 里面造成非常多的这种天灾，或者是更进一步的从整个社会面上面，或者是说从 politics 方面对外的整个real politics 或对内的politics 上面的 tension 是有非常多的一个方向上面来讲是共同的一个 challenge。所以在建构整个ecosystem 上面，其实很重要的一个 focus 就是 collaboration。那尤其就是说，像以台湾来讲的话，我们最近因为花莲，所以我们看到了我们的产值超标，就是觉得在这块来讲，其实是代表台湾的一个韧性跟台湾的慈悲心，以及是一个行动的一个开始。所以在我们这场的 panel 上面来讲，我们会分成两大部分。第一部分来讲，我会请 Masa 桑，他给我们大概15分钟的一个 speech， 然后之后呢，我们就会有3位 analyst， 除了 Masa 桑之外，顾米桑，还有我们敬佩的方老师 Richard， 那他们3位呢，会进一步的跟去做整个未来在 impact investment、impact economy 上面，从各个 angle， 那进行如何去合作，那希望透过这次的 session， 大家也能够更深入的去了解日本最后一个经验，以及在台湾我们从中可以学到什么。好，非常谢谢。那接下来我就把时间交给Masa桑。
非常谢谢理事长为我们开场 ，Thank you very much. Now, please once again very welcome Masa Award, GSG Impact Ambassador, Vice Chair, GSG Impact Japan National Partner, and the founder and CEO of Japan Fundraising Association. 接下来会有请 GSG Impact 大学日本早会主席及日本父子协会执行长一位亚龙，掌声欢迎。
So happy to see you again. Once again, Master, I will master, and I'm so happy to see you again. And in this session, I'd like to share the journey of Japan, again, and focusing on the brand environment. Oh, right. So, I would like to show the visual images of using of Japan again. As you see on the left-hand side, is 2 on the picture side. So in 1980, Operation Pyramid was performed, and in 2030, Operation Pyramid is like this. It's quite a lot of building society. And the right hand side top, you see the postal isolation. What is going on side? 40% of Japanese people say that they are not isolated. And young generation, as you see on the right hand bottom, the 80-year-old who responded, I believe I can change my country and society. You see, only 80% Japanese young say that they can change the society. And under these circumstances, I don't think the children and youth in so on. 10 teens with suicide. That's right. And 43% use fear of isolation. And 15.3% teens believe Japan will become better. And this is the situation where we are now. And as I mentioned, if the investment has been growing, that this is the visual image for you. Yes. I like this. It's growing. From this is Japanese yen basis 34 billion yen to 115 billion US dollars. It's increasing significantly. However, as also I mentioned, in order to maximize the impact of investment, we need to have branded finance. So when it comes to branded finance, there are a lot of options and approaches regarding brand finance. Many people think that risk mitigation is kind of very important part of the role of brand financing. For example, we were investee companies, if investee companies can get grant from grant making foundations, it will reduce the risk of the investment, right? And it will increase the possibility of success, which is very easy to understand. But in not only this kind of risk mitigation, there are a lot of other types of credit financing approaches. For example, impact measurement and management, sometimes granted and supported by the government and the foundation. Acceleration, technical assistance, those kinds of things to be done by foundation and NPOs. Research and development, especially in the early stage, some startups, they do not have enough budget to do R&D and some grants for big grants. And advocacy work to change the policy might be done by philanthropy and the knowledge sharing, outcome funding, market development, those things also can be done. Philanthropy and the government. And us, GSC for Japan is doing ecosystem building and market building in more than 50 countries. We are promoting instant investments, but our financial associate coming from philanthropy support and governmental support and so forth. Yeah. So likewise, the key thing is that when it comes to when we discuss the impact investment, usually we think the direct relationships between the investor and the investee. But in impact investment, we need to ask participation from various players. This is kind of collective impact investment. And impact philanthropy, branded finance, and outcome-based approaches are important. Everybody says so. In Japan also, many people say that this is important. But in reality, it is very difficult. For example, philanthropy foundation, they don't want to support it. They don't like impact. They want to do their own project. They want to give grant to non-organization. They don't want to mitigate the risk of the investment. And political players is important, but the number of political players are very limited. Furthermore, whenever we conduct impact investment, we do impact measurement. And impact measurement generate outcome evidences and data, right? And theoretically, those kind of outcome data and evidence will change the policy or will attract more investment or we generate new will to create an innovation. However, as of today, those kind of outcome evidences are just scattered in many policies and it hasn't created a just cycle. So, let me share Japan's journey. We have various things, and we are going to do various things for catalyzing capital. First thing, in 2017, we unlocked government bank accounts for providing branded finance resources. In Japan, have you ever heard of government bank account? Yes, there are a lot of leftover in the bank. In Japan's case, if you leave your bank account untouched for 10 years, it used to become the profit of the bank. So we collectively allocate to the government, and in 2017, we became active in Europe to unlock this government bank account and utilize the leftover for social innovation. And the Japanese government designated a new consortium of Japan, like a board member of Japan, and this Japan provide a risk capital for creating social innovation. This is what's happening right now. However, the barrier is that although we initially thought that this impact forfeiter could provide more risk capital for impact investment, but in reality, because of the negative reaction of political leaders in Japan, there at the very first 5 years, Japan was allowed to provide only grants to non-profits. And 5 years later, from last year, Japan started to provide this capital for impact startup and for impact investment. So it's that kind of step by step. And unlike the government, we have been communicating with many governmental sector. And one good news is that the JICA, Japanese governmental agency, revised the law in the parliament in April this year. And JICA is now allowed to write more catalytic law. For example, they can purchase bond issued by the social businesses in the global side, or they can guarantee impact investment for the global north, the global south. Likewise, they become more catalytic, thanks to the support of the government. And third one, I want the high net worth philanthropy. We set a platform for high net worth people to provide more risk capital. And last but not least, unlock international knowledge sharing is also very important. And we haven't achieved enough success yet. But I learned a lot from the experiences of Taiwan. And knowledge sharing, outcome data sharing is really, really important. And last several decades, in the social sector, frequently we said that knowledge sharing is important. Experience sharing is important. Idea sharing is important. Yes, these are important even today. But from now on, what more important is not just idea and values. We should share outcome evidences and data among Northeast Asian countries. By doing that, we can accelerate social innovation together. And one good example is that now Japan and Korea are working together. And have you ever heard of SK Group in Korea? This is a conglomerate business, one of the largest business conglomerate in Korea. And the SK Group initiated to set up CSES, this is a grant making foundation, and they provide credit finance model, they provide grant outcome fund to social businesses and impact startup in Korea. More than 300 companies got the grant, and then they grow. And together with CSES, the Japan Association, it provides outcome funding model to Japanese enterprises. And based on the outcome data, we merge those kind of outcome data with CSES and Japan. And we are trying to do this kind of thing together right now. Yeah. So this is my presentation, and lastly, I will show once again a slide. As I mentioned, invisible hardware markets is really important from now. But in order to activate invisible hardware on market, if we just rely on the direct relationship with investor and investees, it's not easy to make it happen. We need to ask various leaders' participation, and branded finance is really crucial. So for me, impact investment is kind of lighthouse in the dark sea. Many people argue that ESG investment is almost 30 to 40% of the total market. And impact investment is just, globally speaking, 1 to 2% only. It's tiny, it's small. However, impact investment is kind of future capitalism, and it's kind of lighthouse in the dark sea. If we can crystallize the value of impact, it will guide the whole financial sector, the business people, and the society towards the future of calculators. And this will begin with the future of art. Thank you very much.
Would you please stay on the stage and join us for the panel? Thank you very much. All right, now we move on with the panel discussion of session 3。那接下来呢是我们第3场的座谈的时间。我们首先呢要再次有请我们的主持人，那么理想力投资协会理事吴慧燕理事长，有请。We'd like to welcome our moderator once again back to the stage, and we have Masa-san already on the stage. And joining us once again for the panel, please welcome Fumi Sugeno, Global Head of Japan Social Innovation and Investment Foundation. 那再次有请这个社会创新与投资基金会经典管理全球总监到台上来参与座谈。同时，我们要邀请中国武汉大学永续创新学院院长及法律治疗专业法律创新协会理事汪仁仪教授 and also Nature Fund Professor of Law, Dean of College of Sustainability and Innovation, Chinese Culture University, and Board Director of TIIF. 那接下来把时间交给主持人，希望汪仁仪分享。
Yeah, thanks so much to Masa to set a theme for us about the journey of the Japan's impact economy and impact investments. And now I'd like to ask Masa-san's further reflections, that we talk about the dream of the impact economy. But can you show us more specific examples, story about the journey you just mentioned? Are there any key challenges you've been facing? And what are the directions of those journey you think you are going to answer?
Yeah, thank you very much. So when it comes to the Japan journey, we have several success cases in our journey there. I think that the impact measurement is very difficult for everybody. And in 2017, the leadership, we created the social impact measurement platform at the time. Now we changed the name to impact investment management project, management platform right now. And key thing is that in the platform we share KPIs and their tools and their know-hows regarding how to measure impact. It's a free platform, and there are roughly 150 companies, universities, organizations joined together to share their experiences on the platform. So this was a symbolic action which accelerated impact investment. And still we have a lot of challenges, but I think that nowadays in Japan, many asset managers are more passionate to increase impact investment products. But the next challenge is how we change the mindset of asset owners with high net worth people or the big company, those kind of things. Because asset owners can take risk, right? And this is the reason why we are now focusing on high net worth people to start new philanthropy. And especially young generation, 40s and 50s, would like to start some new philanthropy, but because they have the experience the social contribution action so far, so someone needs to support their leadership. So this is what I think.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, in the morning section, we also heard from Fumi-san to talk about the journey of the organization. And in the church, she mentioned about Hataruka Fund. Okay, so could you, explain further to us, for Hataruka funds, what kind of impact tools or impact investments for that fund? And you can share some more about your experience on that or any lesson learned from that fund.
Thank you, Francine. So I'll first maybe talk a little bit about the journey of how we got to launch Hadaraki Fund, which means to work in Japanese. Because hyperlocal fund, the impact we want to create is to create new and diverse way of working in Japan. Creating the Asian society means completely fundamentally change the way the legal market works by utilizing more women, elderly people, and such. So the first challenge when we first started promoting impact investment in Japan that we faced was that when we go to financial institutions, they will say, well, that's a great idea, but isn't that the kind of investment you can make money? So we wanted to really have an example period that this can be impact investing can also see impact as well as market growth return, and it can be core of the financial institution finance business. So we were, as a foundation, we were really looking into good examples of VC funds in the UK, in the US, and talking to many different stakeholders, but we didn't have track record of investing, for instance. And then we met these two women, who are like entrepreneurs in banking, which is Cheesecake Bank. So these women, was my dearest managing the fund now. They are experienced VC professionals, and after they gave birth, became back to the workforce. This is part of reality that VC, maybe one of the VC is very much long professional process. And so, but they wanted to, especially for as well as they wanted to provide quality healthcare to their, but they weren't, with services available. But at the same time, that means that it's a market, it's not market demand for such service, childcare and such and such. So they started wondering about what can we do with utilizing professional experience. And they came up to say, oh, this is something that we actually do. So they also wanted to create this. They came to see, and both three came together by saying that let's collaborate and let's become co-GE. We provide more impact measurement and management expertise. We can provide a global network of impact investing. They provide the VC experience and banking groups, infrastructure, sourcing, and then also meet the both, and they became GP advisor as well as LP. So we brought in all these big institutions and then made this impact fund to see not only impact but also to become an example for markets build impact investing market build. We go through a learning journey together with LP scale. So that's how we brought up the
Thanks so much. Yeah, hyperlocal fund is in Chinese banking sample system. So that's very linked together with the demand side. Okay, and then I'm going to introduce Richard. Okay, I quite like in the morning section, muscle foundation, in the past theory, we talk about Adam Smith, the market is driven by invisible hand. But actually, if we talk about impact investment, we do need visible hands. And in particular, it's I think government regulation, which is right, extremely important role. They can make a very powerful impact. Right, so for that one, I know Richard, because I had spent a lot of time to do the comparisons of Taiwan regulation to compare with other countries, right? So I think now I'd like to give some time for Richard to elaborate further about his own journey and also what's any suggestion he would like to make.
Okay, thanks, Francis. Before I start, I think everybody's very curious why I know you. I wrote the best here. Because there's a problem, there's a barriers in Taiwan, especially on the legal system mechanism. We still focus on the old style profit-driven style. I remember when I first met Ray, this is one of the reasons why we think about like 2018, probably 8 years ago, also Charles, I was in a steering committee for the company acts legislatures, and we are providing the legal advice for our government. And at that time, President Tsai is the big leader on the whole process. And I still remember at the end, we only passed Article 1 of Company Act. The Article 1 of Company Act is about company is for profit. Maximize shareholder value. But you can do the CSR, corporate social responsibility. And it's now go to the ESG. And for another part, we try to promote is about the social enterprise. The legal status for the social enterprise or a benefit company corporation. But it's turned out it's not very successful. We use only a policy to support that. So you can see at that time our government chose a big company that focus on the CSR rather on the social innovation. But I will say that the time is changing, especially the recent years. The ESG becomes more like the people will like complain as a greenwash, okay, because you don't have a purpose. You only disclose the ESG, but what is your purpose? What is your impact? So I always I think it's quite interesting to see the global trends through the years. When you see the ESG is going to be a turning point at this moment. Nowadays, everyone when I go to international forums, everyone talk about SDGs. What is achievement? What is your impact investment? How do you measure your achievement? How do you calculate? So if I think it's in the right movement right now, and that's why I'm still here. I hope maybe next year don't need to invite me because we already passed it, already guideline. And so and also I want to mention about Japanese very big success. They are our champion in Asia, especially for impact investment. Because you see, we used to talk about Singapore as an example, but nowadays I use Japan. Because compare Japan, Singapore, and I think Japan is more like Taiwan style. Our financial system is driven by the traditional financial institutions, not like Singapore. Singapore is more they have suffering from this difference, and also they have a lot of innovation they can do. But in Taiwan, we just like Japan, we rely on the traditional, the big player. So that's why it's very curious when I see the Japan, they passed the guideline for the impact investment. But I know the change is like to certain not one line. They probably spend like 3 or 5 years looking at that. Especially I think the finance Abe, the former finance Abe, I think in 2019 they mentioned about his future vision on the top down. They talk about impact investment. And follow that, I think the office, they have a big picture framework. And the big picture framework especially mentioned about the impact investment. Then follow that, our friends, right? They driven all the ecosystems. And then we have FSA, Financial Service Authority, Japan, that passed the guideline last year. And now I can see from the Japanese side, I see they are just scaling, and they have common language. What is impact investment? That's exciting about this.
Thank you. For the key theme of our section is collaboration. When we talk about collaboration, the key word is trust. But however, according to our own experience, basically, much of the government side, when we foresee in Taiwan, they are not a very strong collaboration between the local government and central government. And it's the government, it is And for the organization, they may have their own KPI. Yeah, so I think, the data are going to, move further about the collaboration. In particular, we can see, from the scratch to scale up and to really have the impact. That is the journey. And so, I would like to move to, master funds, right? Probably can share us, more of, what the key driver forces in Japan. Or are there any characteristics, actually said, you have a full scene in Japan that, which can really, help us to, I would say, amplify the capital or amplify the, impact.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for asking. Yes, before answering to your question, I like the words origin and the Taiwan model. When I recall, the 2014, when the GA social impact investment task force was established, we sporadically and intentionally discussed what is Japan model. Right? We just before the concept, the idea, the scheme, the system, the framework. The key thing is that how we think about the system and the project which match to the local context and our culture. So I really want to see how model, in 10 years. And when it comes to the catalytic things, the one very important thing we need to think of is that the philanthropic money is really important. But very important thing is that the philanthropic money is not just a money. Philanthropic money is passion and empathy and connection and ties and trust, as you mentioned. So it's not just a capital, it's a human passion, usually. So once we can provide philanthropic support for impact investment, it means that we can significantly increase the success rate of the impact investment and the impact business. Because most people, philanthropic leaders, foundation owners, enthusiastically support the impact businesses. This is a totally different story from traditional market mechanism. So the key concept of the individual heart is harmonizing impact investment and impact philanthropy. So this is a very important thing to think. But usually, whenever we discuss, even in Japan, we discuss impact investment, we just talk about financial investment. But we need to think how we can work together with philanthropy sector. And secondly, also we need to think the demand side. The supply side, philanthropic money is important, but the demand side, I mean the ground level, in order to change the real daily life of vulnerable people, we need to ask the participation of non-profit organizations, for example. The non-profit organizations are recognized as the impact first organizations. They don't care about revenue sometimes. However, those impact first non-profit organizations can achieve the last 1 mile things in impact investment project. So without having proper participation of these impact first organizations, we cannot maximize impact, maximize sustainable impact of impact investment. So this is what I feel.
Thank you. And now we're going to move to the next one. And in addition to the lots of some just mentioned, the anything like outcome, in particular, could you give us some specific examples how particularly during your foundations, how you have been done?
Yeah. So I totally resonate with what Masa just mentioned, and I may be able to give some examples about how C has been working to unlock more capital for speaker. I totally agree with Masa's that when we think about the kind of capital that we have as a foundation is not only about financial capital, but we have other types of capital, like culture capital, the knowledge of impact or impact measurement and management, social capital, the network of like Tiia and you, the global network that we have, or symbolic capital, the position that as a foundation, we can take neutral and independent position to convene different stakeholders who may have competitive relationship with each other. So those are the things that we can really utilize. To be honest, like we're so small foundation, such a small foundation, so our money is very tiny. We quickly learned that lesson that money is not a real big strength. So in Hagaya Fund's case, for instance, what we are providing is more like the knowledge capital of the impact measurement and management, and also the social capital of the international standard. But we putting the money together as co-GP. This was really important because we can create equal relationship, equal partnership between financial institution and foundation. So like Masa-san said, it's so important to bring in non-profit organization on the board to become partners. But traditionally in Japan, the social status of non-profits, I think, to be honest, from business side, it wasn't that big. They wouldn't think as equal partners. We need to change that to bring equal partners between non-profit and for-profit. So in that way, I also have a veto in the investment committee. I'm an investment committee member, and two other prominent interests are investment committee, but that we all have say of investment decisions. So that's the governance. So by creating this example with we also make sure that we share this knowledge to wider impact players in Japan with other financial institutions. So for instance, what we are focusing on right now, for the future is what we call impact IPO. Investees are ready to go public and exit from a fund. Once they go public, to scale their impact and their business, they need to face various kinds of investors, not only impact investors. There's so many experienced impact investors in the public market. How can they maintain their mission of impact, but also being valued properly by the capital market? We need to educate the companies to invest impact measurement management into the corporate governance and corporate strategy, as well as dialogue, IR, investors relationship, and educate the public equity investors as well. So under GXG Impact Japan, we made impact IP working group, convene all these startups, public equity investors, security firms, Japan FSA, stock exchange, so that we can share how can we support all these companies in the capital market to promote impact. So that's how we amplify the example by sharing with others and driving others, promote others to do also impact investing in impact business.
Thank you. I think so delighted to hear the experience from Japan, particularly on the ecosystem. And now I'm going to pass to Richard to look at Taiwan situation. In particular, we just hear from Masa-san and also Lisa about the role of the benefit. But in Taiwan, it is we look at the impact investment, particularly on the benefit or foundation parts. By regulation itself, it is remember about the constraints or restrictions. So, person provider, other for 90%, etc. So, can you give us a more specific your population, in particular for the benefit or even from the restriction from government. How can government trust more on those like philanthropy or even like a financial institution or even for those kind of things? How government can liberalize this?
It's a big question. Involve another branch, not only the financial institution. But for that, before I start to answer this question, I want to echo on the collaboration and trust. We talk about PPP, right? Public, private, philanthropy, and even local people. If we want to put together, working together, we need to trust. How we get the trust? We need to talk. So we need to bring those people together. Form a platform or a conference. Like this today is a good beginning. Or maybe next year we'll have Taiwan week. And I think this is the first step. We bring everyone, which is especially public asset, public officials. And then everyone don't wait, move to wait others moving first. No, everyone need to working together. So don't think about how can we make a standard. We need to talk to make a standard, not waiting for others to make a mistake. We only need to talk it. We shouldn't talk it. And then we talk about the standards. We talk about measurements. And I think it's better to do that. Okay. And Taiwan is not easy because when I was a lawyer, my friend always asked me, which can I do that? Can I invest that? When I got a law, or even my financial duty. So that's why we need the policy, we need the timeline to ensure that will be defined, especially for institutional investor. Even in the philanthropy in Taiwan for the non-profit foundations, they are regulated, highly regulated nowadays. So I think the first we need to have a trust between among everyone, among the interest group together. And then we can, I think, make a good example. Yeah, they form a consortium, right? And government need to be wonderful. They don't need to make the tiny specific standard, only the overall the timeline, the big principles. We need to have a target, we need to have a measurement, we need to be transparent. But for a detail of how you connect with the regional organizations, or also like health program, education society, we don't need the government to do that alone. We have a lot of experts who can do that with them. So I think always start with the trust. And how to start with the trust? I think it's valid. Okay, making friends. And it's very Taiwan, no? Taiwan, our financial, we call our financial authority FSC, Financial Supervision. Financial Supervision Commission, right? So everyone was you feel like the financial industry is very highly regulated. So I think everyone needs to waiting for some kind of timeline or maybe kind of policy support. And then we need to make a distinguish between ESG and impact. Otherwise, everyone do that ESG, there's an impact. Any proof? No proof, right? So we need some common language. Yeah, to talk about impact, that's good. And Japan, good example. Yeah, that's my comment.
Thank you. We just covered from the philanthropy, the news. We still have a couple of minutes, so I think probably for each of you, could you probably give us like some example or cases you think you'd like to share further on the branded finance or any like outcome-based approaches? What you have the experiences and you think can we learn from?
Hello. I think when it comes to branded financing, outcome-based financing is really usually outcome-based financing provided underground form for the it's good for starting out with one model. And in Japan also, at the very first stage, social impact bonds, were really making project for many government officers and many people and political leaders. Because the local government is invested in the infrastructure of working together and based on the outcomes. And based on the state expenditure of the government repair. So this kind of outcome-based program were very, very impactful. And in Japan, there, because of the limitation of the understanding of the local government and the limitation of the legal system, it's really difficult to make a scalable social impact bonding project right now. I don't know what happened in Taiwan, but outcome-based funding is really, really important door opener, I think, in many countries.
Yeah, so, I think it, outcome-based, like Masa-san said, the social impact bonds, that was the in early stage of promoting impact in the invest in Japan, what people were most interested in. So because I think also there was the involvement of the government, it was a private public partnership type of impact investing project, so that gave some kind of legitimacy to the project as well. We did our intermediary work for developing social impact bonds as well as we invested. And it was such a learning journey for us because we say in Japanese, God's making details. So about how to design the indicator or target to link to the return, and how to set the profit target. It's quite difficult without any personal examples. So you really need to have like innovative and open mindset, local government leaders and other investors who are willing to explore. I think in Japan at the host we did invest in maybe less than 10 social impact bonds. Around half of it we made returns and half of it we didn't, because we took the higher tranche as well, higher risk tranche as well, to kind of, it's a typical example of blended finance that we can take the risk so that we can invite other financial institutions and get other investors to join. But we think that it was a success in the case because we, in that way, we played a calculated role to experiment how social impact bonds can play and what are the lessons learned, and we published a report about what have been the difficulty for us. So we try not to be too strict on outcome-based finance now. I think that we have more diverse ways of financing impact investing. And we also emphasize on the point of when we promote impact measurement management, we emphasize the impact management part, not about just checking the box of, okay, KPI, did we set targets? It's about the learning journey. It's about integrating impact into the decision-making process. It's a PDCA process. So that's the basic principle that we've been really conscious about promoting impact measurement management in Japan, and now we share common language of impact measurement management that emphasizes impact management amongst different stakeholders.
Thank you. In this morning sections, our chairperson, Charles mentioned, this year is the action year. We do wish, in Taiwan, we can come up with some sample cases for impact investment, nominated through the grant finance or contract approaches. And now my question will tend to Richard, because I know he has talked to no matter it's local government or central governments. So can you share with us about your finding, or will you be able to start? How can we do?
Okay, I think, just add, Japan's, last year, we talked about research about the people success or social impact bonds or outcome-based contract. In Japan, they have a very good system because they have an order of the prime minister government, and it's become like a very common practice in Japan. So there's a lot of case. If you want to read, you need to join our Tiia, right? And we have a free access for you. You can study that. And last year we compare 5 countries, United Kingdom, and United States, and Japan, Korea, Singapore. So I think it is a lot of case. In Taiwan, I think right now, similar problem, because the rule is not very flexible. For the government, they want to do the funding. If you have a good outcome, right, the government need to equal or original investor. Or philanthropy, the foundation, they want to provide the funding for if you have a good outcome, right, the philanthropy need to pay them back, right? It's a kind of investment. The rule is not very flexible now. But I think the local government have a good chance, like the Taipei government, or even we can find some special use the sandbox. Maybe we need to target special area. So in Taiwan, it's more like the experience, like this stage. Yes, I think it's possible. Maybe next year we can see. Because I talked with some of the Taipei city government, they are very interested about this. And also Charles was mentioning about that. There's some very good chance. Okay, I don't want to disclose too much. You can ask Charles in person. Yeah, that's my response. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I think we do wish in Taiwan, we can see more collaborations among different stakeholders to all work together, and we will become kind of movement for the impact investment in Taiwan. So we still got 35 minutes. Yeah, so I think I would like to ask one of each make a wish. Okay. If you can make a wish for impact investment or impact economies, what would be your wish? So we start from most of them.
Okay, thank you very much. One wish is one for Taiwan and one for Japan.
Very good.
Richard said the cross-connect relationship is a very important foundation to achieve the collective impact economy and impact investment. And in Japan, for example, when we would like to make a cross-base with many people, usually we go out for drinking beer and sake and sing a song together, then we can become good friends. But in reality, it's not easy to do in Taiwan, I think. When we still say that this kind of conference is also very, very important place to build the passion and process. And in that case, year to year, speakers of the board, speakers of the parliament, you different world than previous years. We become more passionate, we become more enthusiastic year for year. And we witnessed a very similar situation in Taiwan. 2 years ago, I joined this TIA. And the speaker's message and the passion and the realistic and the realisticity, many things changed already. I feel this one. So you are now building very important network and trust base in this community already. I wish that you would continue this one. And then you can be to the totally different situation, I think. This is the part wish. And second, the global impact economy. It's not a little bit weird, but I would like to harmonize the knowledge and capital. knowledge and I would like to make a good cycle of knowledge and capital and in coming decades. In I think in my world, this is an infinity model of knowledge and cycle, which means that usually impact investment provide capital. This is the starting point. And on the ground level, this risk capital creates a new innovation. Then, after doing impact measurement, the evidence and knowledge is coming back to investors, right? And so far, this was the end of the journey, right? But in this new infinity model, investors provide capital, innovation happens on the ground, and evidence coming back to investors, then investors share that information and knowledge with others, and we structure the data and outcome evidences, then the new investors, new philanthropists, new corporate owners get the will among the motivation to make something new. They provide resources, they set up new startup, then new risk capital coming in, and new innovation coming out. And then new evidence is coming in, and the new evidence will create a new will and the motivation. And this is the infinity model we would like to see, right? This is the kind of way we're impact the individual part of the market. So this is my way. Thank you.
I'm not going after myself. Okay. Yeah, thank you for, it's a truly wonderful question, and I thought about it, and what occurred to my mind is that my son, who's 11 years old now, waiting for me in Chicago. His son travels a lot, he hears lots of impact investing while at conference calls. So he asked me one day saying, "Mommy, you're spending a lot of time on something called impact investing. Is impact investing really gonna be good for the world?" And I had to pause a little bit and I said, "I'm trying." So, today, so nice of all of you saying that there's something that Japan's experience can be something relevant for Taiwan as well, and then like each other, right? And we've seen, yes, rapid growth of impact investing asset under management market growing in Japan, but is that growth, is that really equivalent to the impact, the social change, environmental change that we are able to make? Or are we on track for that? And now I have to say not yet. We have so much more work to do in order to create deep structural change of the way our economic system works. So in order to do that, we need to have the information of knowledge and capital. We need to have evidence of outcomes. And I think most importantly, we need to have a very open learning culture that we share with each other. That's what we've been trying to do at GSG, through the GSG as well. That we're open about what didn't go wrong and share about that. Because that's how we become most fascinated, and that's how it's a continuous, never-ending journey in that. So be open, think. Richard, what's your wish?
Oh, I can make another wish. I think I hope right now we put a lot of emphasis on the digital transformation. I think that digital transformation, AI need to come along with impact transformation, or we call it sustainability. And both are very critical in this stage. And I hope that one day our French presidents and stand alongside with along with different parties leaders stand together and say we need to focus on the impact. Don't argue. We have set targets, we can work together And then I hope one day our every investor in Taiwan, they are not just looking for the stock price, they're looking for the ECAT index. Okay, decide which company they want to invest. And then for the old consumers, when they purchase the products, they will think about what kind of company behind these products. That's my wish.
Thank you, Richard. Our time is up. And I would like to, thanks for all our panelists, which really share to us about their very, very good experiences. And as we say, this session is collaboration. I think that we will learn a lot from Japan case, and we can also cooperate with Japan and also other national partners in the world. And we can really, motivate the actors in Taiwan to impact investment, to impact the funds. So thanks a lot for all your attention. So let's give a big applause to all our panelists.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Monster-san, thank you to Zumi, thank you to Richard for giving us such a thought-provoking discussion. Thank you very much. Please have a photo together. Thank you so much. 好的，那各位现场贵宾，接下来的是中场休息的时间，我们休息到2点50分，休息到2点50分。